and she'll be back with you in a couple of weeks, probably 3 Tuesdays from now. She's not far from here, living in a Mongolian yurt in a field in a Buddhist retreat center. So it's quite a large, it's very large field, it's a big meadow full of flowers and grass. She has running water, and she gets food delivered by me every other day. And so she's very happy bunny, you could say. And she's having a really good time. She's discovered she can do nothing, which is, for someone who's an extremely effective human being, who's always doing lots and lots of things for other people. She's finally discovered she can just sit in a sort of recliner chair, look at the view, or just go for little walks, or sometimes she has to lie down on a bed. And she's just so happy. She's just completely happy, not doing anything, not writing a journal, not reading anything, which I think she's reading few things. She occasionally just tells me what's going on when I pop out with them food, but we don't really have a proper conversation very long. So all I can say is that Vidyamala is so happy. And if you've ever met Vidyamala, someone described it to me a couple of days ago, it's a bit like being hit by a strong light. And there's even stronger light now that when you see her, it's just a big smile, happiness. And anyway, so that's a nice, cheerful thing. And I was walking through the town here, Ledbury, today, and thinking that things seem to be getting back to normal, even though there's been more delay on lifting restrictions in the UK. And it's become so normal, the new normal, that I can't even notice if people are wearing masks in the shops. I think they are, but I think it's just so normal that I think I probably notice anyone who hasn't got a mask rather than the masks. And life is sort of pretty easy, I have to say, and nice here in Ledbury. Then I spoke to another friend of mine, a woman who's in her late 70s, who has been forced to live on her own. She's quite frightened about COVID. She's had it once, and she's recently had some surgery on her lungs. And she's having, she thought she had COVID again. And she's been living on her own virtually, hardly seeing anyone for well over a year, nearly 14, 15 months. And it was a real reminder to me that the new normal is still not very nice for a lot of people. There's still a lot of people in isolation, and people just lonely. And it's so normal for human beings to have relationship with one another. If we don't have that relationship with one another, I think we suffer. It's one of those needs in life, like food and water, to be able to mingle or to relate to another person. And of course we can do it on Zoom, on the telephone, but it's not the same as being in the same space as another person. So I thought we could do a meditation this evening, just mainly focusing on all the people that are kind of not so well off, not so fortunate to have a nice cool house, or a warm house if it's cool where you are. I think someone from New Zealand, it might be quite cool there now. I thought it'd be nice just to kind of rejoice in our own sense of well-being, even if we're suffering ourselves, and just sending a bit of loving kindness towards ourselves. And we can then move on to a friend. It's kind of traditional kindly awareness, loving kindness meditation. And then we could think of kind of not just normally you think of a neutral person, just someone who you think of as an it, an object. But maybe you could just think of, there's all these objects called human beings, many of them who are isolated at this moment. And they are kind of, you may be one of them, and you may just feel, wouldn't it be nice to be able to get out and just mingle and be with other people in a more crowded situation. And then we could just include everyone. And I'll just lead I'll just lightly lead the meditation through. And again, I'd just like you to remember that we're doing this in a community. There are 58 people showing on Zoom, and someone else just joined. And that's quite a lot of people to be practicing with this evening. If you want to see everyone on gallery view, I think you can, although I'm pinned as the kind of teacher at the moment, but you can also change your view if you want. We could just close your eyes and just begin to settle down and kind of find that, if you can find that sweet spot, that kind of zone or that approach to the zone, that kind of place, that door that some people think of it as a door that you can open and go through into a kind of different state of being. So we could just start by taking stock of what we're experiencing at this moment. Taking stock of the experiences that we have in our body. If we're sitting on a chair or leaning back, maybe you could feel the weight of your body pushing down. And sometimes you can feel as though the body just releases a little bit. And the gravitational force that keeps us on the earth is acting on us. We're sometimes almost like resisting it, pushing against it. But we could perhaps just try to allow ourselves to let go. And turning our focus towards the sensation of breathing. Breathing in and breathing out. And maybe noticing how thoughts are trying to intrude in our mind. Once we begin to develop a certain awareness of our thinking, we can actually see thoughts almost like objects that come into our awareness, and very quickly we are just thinking. That's all we're doing. We're not even a person any longer. We're just thinking. We forget who we are, and so we practice mindfulness so that we can break this habit of just being thinking. And you start to notice that thoughts come. You can't really stop thoughts from coming. You can stop thoughts from coming possibly by just letting your thoughts wear themselves out by not paying any attention to them. It might sound all a bit sort of odd talking like this, but so it can feel like it's as though part of us is just, okay, I'm not going to take any notice of a thought. And then you think, oh, there's a thought. And if you can catch it quick enough before you start thinking the thought and producing more thoughts and more thoughts and more thoughts, you can actually kind of drop a bit deeper into a sort of experience of stillness, peacefulness even. Of course, thoughts don't just arise because of, let me put it another way, thoughts arise because of various conditions. One of those conditions may be that you're uncomfortable, you may even be in pain. It could be physical pain, it may be mental pain, you may just not be feeling very happy. And that will produce thoughts, that sensation, that emotional tone. It could be the physical, as I say, it could be the physical sensations in the body that trigger thoughts. It could be just how we're feeling. And then we've been doing lots of things during the day previously that have been kind of creating situations where there will be thinking going on. Because we've been thinking probably most of the day if we haven't been asleep. And then finding this stillness is such a relief, simply by allowing our attention to refocus on our breathing, on the sensation of breathing. And if you get quite good at it, you can even notice that there's a kind of little pause at the end of the in-breath and a little pause at the end of the out-breath. Now, a loving kindness meditation actually allows us to let the thinking continue a little bit by bringing to mind, well, we can think of ourselves as a whole entity, if you like. We're actually made up of lots of parts, of arms, legs, head, torso, limbs, muscles, organs, skin, nails, hair, all these parts that just make up a whole. And just think about this whole, what kind of emotional tone it's experiencing at the moment. What would you say was how you were feeling at the moment? Happy, sad, not sure, kind of neutral, tired, awake, pain. If you're in pain, if you've got physical pain, it may be good just to remember that probably not all the parts of your being are in pain, but more specific areas, sometimes quite focused areas, are painful. In which case, if we can hold that in a bigger container of all our other experiences, the parts of us that are not hurting, comfortable. And we're just having a sense of kindness towards ourselves, as though we're wishing ourselves to be well in the sense of wholeness, healthiness. It may not be well if you've got an illness or a condition in that sense, but a kind of mood of wellness. You may not feel it, you may not feel happy, maybe feeling a bit down even. We might be quite cheerful and happy, and then you can just rejoice in that and kind of bask in it. And if it's a struggle, you can maybe remember a time when you felt comfortable, creative, maybe happy, content, not sort of happy, clappy, noisy, but just still, that stillness, that contentment that comes with letting everything go. A wonderful state to be able to sit in. And even if we're finding ourselves a bit distracted, we could just kind of say to ourselves, well, may I be still, may I be content. And you notice you go, oops, I've gone off again. And then you go, oh, may I be still, may I be content. You could just do this mantra like if you wanted to, or you could just say it. You could just feel it or remember it. It's a kind of place where there's love. It's very difficult to experience the motivating feeling of kindness and love unless we're still, quiet. We may still be kind and helpful to others, but we sometimes miss ourselves out when we do that. We're not properly resourced. So this is a resourcing moment. You can imagine it's like recharging quietly, gently. You could think of a friend who's breathing at this moment and you don't have to feel very close to that friend. It could be a very close friend. It could just be someone that you feel kindly towards. It's easy to be with. And just be aware of them breathing. You have to use your imagination here. You can imagine them breathing in and out. You can even imagine them breathing at the same time as you. When you breathe in, you breathe out. And then you can have a sense of letting them be the recipients of your thoughts of kindness, wishing them more contentment and stillness and joy. With their breathing. And maybe with this momentum, this intention of kindly awareness, we could think of all the people that are finding difficulties at this moment, whether it's isolation, which is a terrible thing to experience. You're forced to be isolated. Your circumstances force you into some kind of isolation. People who feel isolated because of their pain, whether that's mental or physical. It's a very isolating thing, pain. And if you're not in pain, if you're feeling quite happy and relaxed and comfortable, there's lots of other people who we could just bring to mind, and even kind of just even imagining you're beaming out a wavelength or a beam of light, a vibration of sound if you wanted to, or some sort of waveform, rhythm flowing to the people that are alone, either physically, mentally, or even both. They're not, people are more than objects. They are very like us, like me, like you, who want to be content, still, at times be able to be still when there's no need to be active, and to probably love, allowing the heart to love beauty and love people who are finding it difficult. So we're a mixed bunch of people all over the world. So here we have representatives from different parts of the world. And it's kind of really great that you've come. We're here, this community of people at this very moment in space, in time, with minds focusing on stillness, receptivity, maybe expansion of love, or loving kindness towards others. To everyone. It's difficult to imagine the 8 or 9 billion people on this planet, but just think of a crowd, if you want, a lot of people all wanting to avoid pain, all wanting to be happy. And it's something we can do. We can actually, as it were, project our love outwards. Don't worry too much about the conceptualizing this. This is more a kind of metaphor, if you like, symbol, perhaps, but a description of something's connecting us. But we do actually care about people when we stop seeing them as objects. We're touched by them. We can't do this with everyone, it's too overwhelming. But we can have a sense of all these people, all these objects called people, being more than just bar of soap or something fixed. Just with your breath, if you like, you could beam out or allow flowing out sense of well-being, helping others, rejoicing in those who are quite happy, content at this moment. And just sitting with that experience, the whole world breathing. And little old me is just breathing with it. Whole of nature is breathing a rhythm. The breath of loving kindness, the outflowing of love, goodwill, kindness. And trying not to think too much about it, just experiencing it more as though you're wishing people, or you could actually say to yourself, may I wish all beings to be free, content, peace. Doesn't matter if you keep repeating that. It's only you're doing it in the privacy of your own mind. Just to help keep refocusing. And again, if you notice, you can kind of drop into a deeper letting go. Is any way I can describe it? Kind of zone or groove. Just allow yourself to do it if you can. Not going to fall anywhere. You may discover deeper and deeper levels of stillness, brightness. beauty. Let's just take a few minutes on reflecting before we move and end this meditation on if something has happened to us in the course of this 20 minutes, 25 minutes of sitting here, focusing the mind. Has anything changed for us? For those people that might have had a very active, distracted mind, it may be that your distractions just decreased a little. Sometimes that's all we can do when our mind is heavily distracted with emotionally charged thoughts, feelings. And other times when we're kind of already content, or even when we're in what seems like the midst of a storm, we can sometimes find that center of the storm where it's calm. Did anything like this? You can just do this kind of self-reflecting. Did I learn anything? Is there anything I could take forward and practice? If you feel like smiling, you could let a smile come and just see how that feels. Just to let yourself smile. You don't have to grin. It doesn't have to be a full toothy smile. It can just be kind of softening of the muscles and the eyes. Does even allowing ourselves to smile changes. Okay, we've been doing this meditation a little bit longer than we have previously, so you may feel a need to move. So you may feel so absorbed you don't want to move, and you can just remain absorbed or still. But your body might be telling you you need to move a little bit, move around. You may even feel like you need to stretch, and you may feel, oh, I need to get some energy flowing a little bit more vigorously. It's been flowing all the time, quite calmly, hopefully. And if you noticed anything, there was anything that you would like to share, if anything happened to you, even if it was falling asleep, but maybe you could ask yourself, how did you know you fell asleep? And you must have woken up at a point, and that was the first thing that you knew, was waking up. What was that like? Anyway, they're the sort of reflections you can have. And that's all part of the process of learning how to develop mindfulness, is just being aware all the time of what's happening. It does change you. Sometimes it's quite difficult to distract yourself from being mindful after a while. And you think, oh, I used to like it when I was very unmindful. I didn't know what was going on. But you can save yourself a lot of problems by being more mindful in life. And anyway, thank you very much. So people are already writing in. See if I can catch them. Very relaxing. Hazel. Meg, felt such calmness, haven't felt for a while. Stefano, I like to share this sunset. Lynn, feeling of stillness. Marianne, thank you, Sona and friends. This is the most peaceful I've felt in months. A shift in loving kindness, kindness to all. Thank you. That was from... Sorry, these jump so quick, I kind of lose myself reading them. I'm definitely more peaceful now. Someone else, just sinking down into gravity and not holding on to tension. Another, dropped into calmness and connection. Somewhat more still than before. Great. Really felt the warmth of this community. It's nice, great. A strong sense of contentment and stillness. It gave me respite, and although I'm in pain, I felt more spacious. Oh, it's wonderful, Maria. Lovely practice. So good to find space, myself, and just a small part. Myself as just a small part of space. It's interesting. My husband fell asleep, and he certainly noticed that when he woke up. I just felt calm and in balance, thank you. Too many thoughts in my mind tonight. That just is one of those things that happens from time to time. Really liked what you said about the whole of nature is breathing. Quite mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. It's interesting connection with breathing, isn't it? Blowing. Although mine sometimes means something else. Nice to have a real person and community to share meditation with. Well, thank you all so much for sharing those experiences with me and with others. And I'm hoping I'll be back here next week, standing in for Vidyamala. And look forward to meditating with you again. It's the main activity. So thank you very much. And look after yourselves. Go well. Have good sleep if it's nighttime where you are. Or have a good day if it's the beginning of the day. Bye, everyone. I can see everyone now.